Every woodworking project begins with a decision that determines almost everything that follows. Not the joinery, not the tools, the wood. The wood decides how it moves, how it's worked, and the overall feeling of the piece, and sometimes whether the project succeeds at all. And strangely, it's one of the least talked about parts of woodworking. In this video, I want to give you a simple framework for choosing wood, how it comes out of the tree, how grain affects design and workability, and how I think about buying lumber without feeling lost. When a log is cut at the mill, that decision stays with the board for the rest of its life. And there are three main types of cuts you'll find in lumber. The first is flat sawn. This creates the cathedral grain most of us recognize. It's expressive, but it tends to move more. As wood dries and releases moisture, it changes shape. Quarter sawn gives straighter grain and better stability. If you look on the end grain of this piece of wood, you can see the grain lines are running straight up and down. In woods like white oak and cherry, it can reveal medullary rays, the nutrient system structure of the tree made visible. Rift sawn is the quietest of the three, straight grain on every face, very stable and usually what I reach for when I want calm lines. Figured wood is almost like a record of the tree's life. Curl, burl, interlocked grain, these are beautiful because something interrupted the normal growing pattern. It also asks more of you. Sharper tools, slower cuts, a more sensitive touch. But when it works, it can really elevate any project. The simplest way I think about it is this: quiet grain for structure, busier grain for panels or anywhere I want a little more expression, and figured grain where I really want attention. And with hand tools, grain matters even more. How tight the growth rings are, grain direction, and how it was cut. A plane is always in conversation with the fibers of the wood. This is where the connection between the tools, the wood, and whatever I'm trying to express in the finished piece really comes together. Or doesn't. Now that we've looked at structure, let's talk about choosing wood for actual projects. And if this has been useful so far, a like really helps this kind of work reach the people looking for it. When I'm choosing wood for a project, I'm usually thinking about three things: hardness, color, and grain. For learning and shop fixtures, I'm usually using poplar or pine, like my workbench or for practicing joinery. I'm looking for something affordable and easy to work. For furniture, I keep coming back to woods like cherry, walnut, and what's often called genuine mahogany. They sit in a beautiful middle ground, just hard enough to be really durable, warm in color, pleasant to work, and rewarding with hand tools. Hard maple is another really nice wood that I use a lot, but it is a lot harder. I've done many projects in white oak, but it's never been a favorite of mine, although I have many friends that really enjoy it. For outdoor work, the conversation changes. There is now a balance of beauty and being able to withstand the elements. That usually points me towards various cedars, cypress, and white oak. Woods that can handle high moisture and resist insects. Some of my favorites are western red cedar, Alaskan yellow cedar, and Japanese cypress, or hinoki. The lumberyard feels intimidating mostly because it's unfamiliar. Most wood is sold either as rough lumber or S4S. Rough lumber comes straight from the mill. It's cheaper, often better quality, but it needs more work. The sizing can be a little confusing, but it's essentially named as a fraction in quarter-inch increments. 4/4 is 1 inch, 6/4 is 1.5 inch, 8/4 is 2 inch, and so on. S4S means surfaced four sides. More expensive, but useful if you don't have milling machines. It's sold as nominal measurements, 1x4, 2x6, etc. But the actual measurements are slightly less because it's milled square, so be sure and pay attention to that before buying. The most important thing with buying wood is going in with a plan. Before I even go to the lumber yard, I already have a full plan and cut list. I know what parts I need, and I know roughly what I want each part to look like. That turns the lumberyard from a guessing game into a search. There's no need to be intimidated. Knowing what you need before you get there is key. And with each successful project, you'll gain more confidence or learn how you can better choose next time. The longer I've worked with wood, the more thought I've given to choosing wood well. How well it will work and what each piece communicates when all is finished. And if you can learn to choose well at the beginning, the rest of the work often becomes clearer. Not easier, just clearer.